This conference will now be recorded.
यो ब्रह्माणं विदधाति पूर्वम् यो वै वेदांश्च प्रगिणोति तस्मै ब्रह्मदेवमात्मबुद्धिप्रकाशम् मुमुक्षुर्वै शरणमहं प्रपद्ये ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्मविद्या सम्प्रदायकर्तृभ्यो वंशिषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः सर्वोपप्लवरहितः प्रज्ञानघनः प्रत्यगर्थो ब्रह्मैवाहमस्मि वेदान्तार्थविभासकाय गुरवे शान्ताय सन्न्यासिने नानावादीनकेन्द्रसङ्घपवये योगीन्द्रवन्द्याय च मोहध्वान्तदिवाकराय भगवत्पादाभिधाम्बिकरते तस्मै भाष्यते नमोऽस्तु सततम् पूर्णाय बोधात्मने। It was told to us that Jivanmukta is called by various names in different texts. In Bhagavad Gita itself, we come across Jivanmukta being described under three different headings. In one place, the Jivanmukta is called as the person of a steady wisdom, steadfast wisdom, sthita prajna. The Jivanmukta in the 12th chapter is called as Jnani Bhakta, as a devotee with knowledge. And in the 14th chapter of Bhagavad Gita itself, Jivanmukta is called as the Gunatita, Trigunatita, Gunatita, the one who has transcended the three attributes, three gunas. So we find that Jivanmukta is described in different places with different names. Then there has to be a reason why even a single text, same text like Bhagavad Gita, goes to describe a Jivanmukta with three different names, and that is because though it is the same phenomena, yet a different aspect or the same thing is viewed from three different angles. And therefore now the topic becomes interesting as how is a devotee a Jivanmukta? How is a man of steady wisdom Jivanmukta? Or how is a person who has transcended the three gunas is called as a Jivanmukta. So this is going to be our topic for some time covering these titles. So the first one is Sthita Prajna Lakshanam. Lakshanam means a distinguishing characteristic, as we have always said. Hmm? What is the distinguishing characteristic of a cow, which a cow alone will have and no other animal will ever have? Because of which you can call cow a cow? Because a dog is also a mammal, a cow is also a mammal. Therefore, you cannot say, what is cow? A mammal is a cow. No, we cannot say that because that characteristic is found even elsewhere. And if you are going to use this characteristic to distinguish cow, to understand cow, then you may land up in choosing a goat, a buffalo, a deer, a dog, a camel as cow because all of these animals are basically mammals. Therefore, to describe the cow, to in order to understand the cow, the characteristic, distinguishing characteristic cannot be a mammal. What is it which the cow alone will have? And no matter how close a buffalo or a deer or a camel is, yet it cannot be cow. So we will have to say cow has cowness. What all things go and make the cowness is a different issue. But what is it that a cow will have is cowness, gotvam. This is its lakshana. Okay, that will become its lakshana. So, sthita prajna lakshanam. So, we want to know who is a sthita prajna, a person of a steady wisdom. Now, this person of a steady wisdom, a man of a steady wisdom, when it is said, it does not mean to say that a woman can never become Jivan Mukta or anything. We have plenty of such evidences everywhere. So there is nothing like, oh well, a woman cannot be liberated. No, she will be liberated. Because liberation is anyone who has the knowledge. Knowledge means he who understands. How does he understand? If he has a pramanam, and if that pramanam functions without any obstruction, then the knowledge will be there. And wherever the knowledge is, then the ignorance will be destroyed. And wherever the ignorance is destroyed, it is mukti, moksha. So whether it is in a man or it is in a woman, whether it is in a young child or whether it is in an adult, it does not matter. You understand? So knowledge is the needle that we have to look at. Where does it point? So over here, the criteria is not whether you are a man or a woman, young or old, hmm, rich or poor, educated or uneducated. This is not it. The criteria is, do you have knowledge or not? And that knowledge means that whatever is required for knowledge to take place, that system, that equipment must be in place. That's it. And if this equipment is there, then why the knowledge will not take place? Yes, in spite of the equipment, there are chances that the knowledge may not take place. Why? Because if there is something that obstructs, so when there is no obstruction of any kind and there is equipment, knowledge has to take place. Which means if your eyesight is good, 6 by 6, there is adequate light in the room and your eyes are open, the knowledge of colors and forms has to take place because the equipment, the system is in the place and there is nothing that is preventing the eyes from functioning. So the knowledge will take place. So now, what is it? The person of steady knowledge, wisdom is called as Sthita Prajna. Let us look at it. Bhagavad Gita Su Dvitiya Sthita Prajna Padyate. Where do you come across this term Sthita Prajna? And he says, it is found, it is read where in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, hmm, Sthita Prajnaha Padhyate, we come across Sthita Prajna. How does that topic begin? So there is a question which is asked by Arjuna. Arjuna says to his, now Shri Krishna being his teacher, to the Guru, he says, Lord, please explain to me what is Sthita Prajna. How does such a person of that knowledge, how does he conduct himself in the world? And who is it that is really called as Sthita Prajna? Because there is knowledge, and along with the knowledge, there is an adjective to that knowledge. You please see steady knowledge. Huh? What is it? Steady knowledge. So knowledge is also there, and that knowledge is also steady. So the person who has this knowledge and it is steady is a person of steady wisdom, steady knowledge. Such a person is sthita prajna. Then, what is the definition of a sthita prajna? How does one know what is sthita prajna? First question. And the second part of the question is that how does this person conduct himself in the world? Why? Because this is a person who has known Atma is Brahman. And knowing Atma is Brahman, what does this person find? That he is totally fulfilled. There is no desire to tell him that you are dissatisfied, you are still incomplete. By the virtue, by the strength of that knowledge, by the power of that knowledge, he discovers, he sees, he knows that he is complete, Purnam. And therefore, there is no sense of incompleteness. There is no sense of dissatisfaction. There is no sense of regret. No, nothing like it. Nothing to be achieved, nothing that he has missed. He is totally satisfied with what? With himself. It is not satisfaction is due to his new car or due to buying a new house or anything. The satisfaction is just by his own being. Whatever this I is satisfaction. Oh, that is it. But then such a person will still continue to conduct because the body will continue as long as there is prarabdha. So now comes the Arjuna's question. What is the definition of a sthita prajna? Because somebody may just call himself as enlightened or something, whatever fanciful names that could be there, wise man, this, that, whatever, there could be 101 names, awakened, this, liberated, um, wise, sage, brahmarshi, or whatever. Those names are there, but what is the lakshana? What is the lakshana? And therefore, now he asks about two things, the definition of such a person and his conduct. That is very important. So thus we begin Sthita Prajna Lakshana. Now look at the commentary for this particular shloka. Prajna Tattva Jnanam. So in the word Sthita Prajna is about the person of steady knowledge. But the word knowledge is prajna. Okay, prajna. So what is that prajna? Tattva jnanam. The knowledge of Atma is Brahman. This is tattva jnanam. Tad vividham. This knowledge is also twofold. What is it? Sthitam, asthitam chaiti. That the knowledge which is unsteady and that which is steady. That which is not firm and knowledge which is firm. So, two. Sthitam, asthitam iti. यथा जारे अनुरक्तायाः नार्या सर्वेषु अपि व्यवहारेषु बुद्धिः जारमेव ध्यायन्ति प्रमाणप्रमितानि क्रियमाणानि अपि गृहकर्माणि सद्यैव विस्मर्यन्ते. Now he gives a very poignant example. Be very, what do they call, alert. And this example is given knowing well that all of us are adults and grown-ups to handle this example. Jare anuraktaya narya. There is a woman, and what a married woman, and she falls in love with another person. What happens then? A paramour. And then jare anurakta. That person is called a jar. A paramour is called as jar in Sanskrit. Jare anuraktayaha narya. And this woman is totally immersed. She is totally immersed infatuated with this person, anurakta. Sarveshu api vyavahareshu buddhihi janameva dhyayanti. And she is found doing various chores at home. She may be cooking, she may be whatever, doing various things, shopping, this, that, all those things she is already doing. Sarveshu api vyavahareshu buddhi jarameva dhyayanti. And she is all in and through all the vyavahara, all the transactions, all the chores, work that she is doing, her mind is focused where? Thinking about her boyfriend. Jarameva dhyaya. Boyfriend in the sense that paramour, thinking about that person. प्रमाणप्रमितानि अपि क्रियमाणानि अपि गृहकर्माणि सद्य एव विस्मर्यन्ते. Now there may be certain things. She only had kept the milk for boiling on the stove, and then she got lost in her thinking and forgets. And she forgets. And when that milk overflows, or whatever thing, if the food that she has kept on the stove, it gets burnt. And then, oh, but then you only had kept it. I forgot. Hey, how did you forget? Oh, no, 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 I was just thinking something. What were you thinking that had engrossed you so much? No, nothing. Like that. Why is there forgetfulness of the work that you only are supposed to do? Jarameva dhyayanti. That's why. And then Tatha Paravairagyopetasya Yoga. Now this is the example. And this example of this woman we are going to use. So there is no judgment that she is good or bad, but her state of mind, look at her state of mind, and that's why it becomes a very poignant example, is constantly drawn towards the person whom she loves. And it is constantly drawn towards that source. Like that, we are going to use this example, her mind being constantly pulled away from the everyday mechanical work to what? To, to, to where her heart belongs. Like that, now we are going to tell you, tatha, just like that. Okay, now begins the part of explaining for what that example was brought in. तथा परवैराग्योपेतस्य योगाभ्यासपाटवेन अत्यन्तवशीकृत्य चित्तस्य उत्पन्ने तत्त्वज्ञाने बुद्धिः चारमिव नैरन्तर्येण तत्त्वं ध्यायति. Now, like this girl was constantly drawn towards it had become a involuntary meditation, samadhi for her. Absorbed in thinking about that her paramour. So for her, it is kind of a samadhi where she is totally absorbed, forgets, and becomes unaware of her immediate surroundings. Now look at that. Now this example, tatha paravairagyopetasya. Now a person who is endowed with vairagyam of the highest order. This person is endowed with vairagyam of the highest order. What is this vairagyam of the highest order? So now to understand this term, we will have to go to Yoga Sutra. So there are Paravairagya and Aparavairagya. All of you just pay little attention, just in order to explain this one word, we have to take a long route a little bit, because even these topics are still going to occur as we are going to progress in the text furthermore. What happens is we are going to say that the basic division of Vairagyam. Now, Vairagyam, you have got some little idea about this word Vairagyam. Okay? Please do not interpret it as, repulsion or what do they call it, or something like that, non-attachment or anything like that presently. The better thing would be to understand this word as maturity, Vairagyam as maturity. Why I'm saying this? So that using this word will avoid the usage of this word will avoid any aberration, mental aberration which will take place. Hmm? What is maturity? Simple things. As a children, we all had our toys, and we loved our toys extremely well, extremely. In fact, those toys at that time were our life. Whole life revolved around those toys. The spins, the kites, uh, the cricket bat, ball, dolls, whatever were your toys. But as we started growing up, now the interest in those toys, what happened to it? It slowly, gradually, you were able to overcome that. And when you overcome that interest, then you have matured into another state. Then you say, well, he is no longer interested in those toys. He has grown up. He has become mature. So, when do we use the term maturity? When those objects fail to hold our interest. When those objects fail to hold our interest, then we have matured, we have grown up. सांगू तुला बोलतोस सांगू काय again? So we have grown up. Then similarly, present situation is such that there are several things which are holding our interest. And interest in any object thing will be only with the idea that it is a source of happiness. That is how it is able to keep our attention by projecting itself as source of happiness. The moment you discover that this is not any my source of happiness, you naturally will lose interest in it. Other person may be interested, but for you it has got no significance. It will lose importance. So now, the anatma, everything that is not the self. And where does the anatma begin? Right from the ego onwards. manifest, unmanifest, ego, everything, up to all these Vishayas, Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasagandha, covering this body, mind, everything. This is Anatma. And the Viveki Purusha, the person who is Viveki, what does he see? That Anatma in any form is not Sukharupa, Dukkharupa eva. That's why Bhagavan Patanjali says over there, yeah, Dukkhameva hi sarvam vivekina. For a Viveki, we are talking about Viveki. For a Viveki, what is it? He sees everything laden potential, with potential to create Dukkham. So he says, Dukkham eva hi sarvam. Then even if you strive to get something, you know, Dukkham. So when a person is able to, when not able to, when the world as such, whether it is this world of immortals or the world of immortals, whichever, some celestial world, when it just does not hold your attention, when it does not hold your attention, then this is the first level of Vairagya. This is called as Apara Vairagya. This word upper is not English upper, like upper berth and lower berth. Okay? Upper seat and lower seat, upper deck and lower deck. No. Upper means over here actually lower. The other. What is Paravairagya? So Aparavairagya over here is uh, what is that? विषय वितृष्णस्य वशीकार संज्ञा वैराग्य. So the sutra is what is it? Anushravika Vishaya Vitrishna, not Anushravika just, but both. Uh, Pratyaksha Anushravika, something like that. So it will come. There is no interest. Thus the person is now floating above everything. Then what is Apara Vairagya? Guna Vaitrashyam. Paravairagyam, where even the gunas of the Prakriti are not able to hold you. Forget the Vishayas, which is the effect of the gunas. Even the gunas by themselves, are even the Sattva guna, is not able to hold you. Then that is Paravairagya. So we are talking about a person who is endowed with Vairagyam of the highest order. So what is it? Paravairagyopetasya yogabhyasa patavena. And so also along with this Paravairagya, he has one more attribute, and that is yoga abhyasa patavena. He has patava expertise. Expertise means some this samadhi has become natural for him. It is not that he has to strive for it. Oh, now I have to do samadhi. Oh, don't disturb me. No. He would be sitting there, right in the bus, traveling back home, and there is 1 hour to go. He says, okay. He closes the eyes. For him, he is not going to sleep. He is in samadhi. It becomes that easy. So just as the thinking about the paramour for that girl is so easy, like that, samadhi is easy for this yogi. Okay. Then yoga abhyas patavena atyanta vashikritya chittasya. And in that mind now, which is endowed with both paravairagyam and the state of samadhi, what is there in that mind? The knowledge also is there. So the three attributes together, please understand, there are three things which are together. One is paravairagya, the other one is samadhi abhyas, samadhi which is easy, what do they call? A natural, effortless samadhi. And third thing is he has heard Tattvamasi Mahavakyam Upanishad from the teacher and done. So there is Tattvajnanam. Three things are there. He's endowed with this. Huh? And then Buddhi Jaramiva Nairantaryena Tattvam Dhyayati. Now, the Buddhi, the intelligence of such a person, what happens to this is constantly focused, effortlessly is focused on the reality, on Atma, is naturally, constantly, effortlessly focused on Atma. Like what? Like the mind of the girl which is drawn to her paramour. Like the mind of this girl which is drawn to her paramour. Oh, like that. Huh? Buddhi jaram iva nairantaryena tattvam dhyayati without a gap. And there, tadidam sthitam prajnanam. When this happens, this state we call as the steadiness of knowledge. In the word sthita prajna, a man of steady wisdom, steady knowledge, steady becomes an adjective to knowledge. What is the knowledge? Tattvajnanam. But what is the steadiness is explained such elaborately with a very poignant example. Like this girl whose mind is constantly drawn to her paramour, Jaram Ivadhyayanti. When this, and it is so natural for her, she can forget easily all the other things and is glides into her own fantasy. But over here it is not fantasy. It is here focusing on the reality. The mind naturally runs and settles in the self. Over there, Nairantarena Tattvam Dhyayati Tadidam Sthitam Prajnanam. This is the steadiness of knowledge, or this is the steady knowledge. Then उक्त उक्तगुणरहितस्य केनापि पुण्यविशेषेण कदाचित् उत्पन्नेपि तत्त्वज्ञाने गृहकर्मवत् तत्रैव तत्त्वं विस्मर्यते तदिदम् अस्थितं प्रज्ञानम्. Now he explains what is the unsteadiness of the knowledge. Very nice. This is really nice. Ukta guna rahitasya. Now this fellow, he does not have all those attributes which were mentioned before. Ukta guna rahitasya. What all things were mentioned? Three things. Paravairagya, then samadhi patava. Patava means patuta, means expertise or effortlessness. Expertise over here is, right, it is so natural, effortlessly. That's expertise. Like some people are there for whom making food is just easy. They talk about them and they will immediately know what all things have to go in what measure. They don't have to refer to the books and look at the videos or anything. For them, just it goes like that. Okay, this is it. A little more, a little, and done. Effortlessly. Simple. So, like that, the second attribute is yoga abhyasa patava. Yoga abhyasa patava. Huh? Vashikritya chitta. Then, and the third one is tattva jnanam. Because of the grace of the teacher, he has the knowledge, Tattvamasi. These are the three attributes. Out of these three attributes, he may not have, the second person whom we are talking about, he may not have these attributes in full measure. Paravairagya, which means vairagyam of the highest order. Huh? What is that paravairagya definition? Anushravika Vishaya Vitrashrasya? Huh? Huh? Vishayanushravika nahi hai. Anyway, he also has perhaps more bad words than that. Anyway, so there you go. So paravairagyopetasya. So these three attributes, paravairagya, Yo Samadhi Patava Patuta, and then the third one, Tattvajnanam, may not be there in the full measure and is not there in the full measure. And therefore, what do we say? Ukta guna rahitasya kenapi punya visheshena. And because of some punya, in past life or some this life itself, he has done some upasana, some good actions, punya, some great punya. And to do great punya, which means that one should be ready to undertake that, those actions with of tremendous difficulty, great punya. I will explain to you this the word great punya. Great punya does not mean that when a person has donated a lot, lakhs and lakhs, it becomes great punya. What is that sutra? Drashtanushravika. Drashtanushravika. Drashtanushravika Vishaya Drashtasya Vashikara Samya Vairagya. Then What is the number?
Mm, 15.
1.15 Yoga Sutra. Then, I'll tell you a story. I have told this story even before. I tell you again. What happened was that Yudhishthira, who is considered to be incarnation of dharma, which means, righteousness, as if righteousness is personified as 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 Yudhishthira. Then he was doing a great punya karma, Rajasuya Yajna, which only a king can do. Only a king can do. So he was doing that Rajasuya Yajna. So then what happened was Sri Krishna showed Yudhishthira a very strange phenomena. He showed Yudhishthira that there was a mongoose which was half golden, which means the half body of that mongoose was totally shining like gold, it was golden. But the other half was just beige color like any ordinary mongoose. Exactly half. And that mongoose was not eating the food or what do they call it, the leftovers of the food of the guests, but it was rolling in those waste paper, or what do they call, dustbin, waste bin, where the leftover food was thrown. It was rolling in it, but not eating. So Shri Krishna showed this mongoose, strange looking mongoose to Yudhishthira. He said, "Look, Yudhishthira, this looks like a strange animal, half golden and not eating but rolling." So they went close to it. And Yudhishthira by now had got this pride that, look here, I'm doing such a good job, good work, great daan I'm doing. Several people are benefiting from it. So many learned people are being rewarded. And so much things are happening. And so much of Godan and all that, Annadan, everything is happening. Then Shri Krishna spoke to that mongoose. He says, "What are you doing?" And strangely, that mongoose answered him back in a human voice. That mongoose said, "I have come over here to make my half body golden. And that is why I am rolling in the leftover food." Because he said, "How can you make your half body golden by rolling in the food?" The mongoose said, "My other half has become golden just like that by rolling in the leftover food. And that's why I thought that Yudhishthira, who is considered to be personification of righteousness, and when he is doing such a great punya karma, maybe the food that he has given to people and the leftover of that food can turn my other body also completely golden. So I came over here for that reason, mongoose. And I'm rolling, but my body is not turning golden." So Shri Krishna asked, "Where did you, in which place made you?" He said, "In long, long ago, this land, I was in a place where it was struck with famine. So there was no food, water, and people were hungry, thirsty, famished. Then, in that village, was a family of one Brahmin who was very righteous. He had wife and his two children. And then after many days, the family had not eaten, and the father had found some one or two chapatis he brought home to give to his children. And as they broke that chapati into four pieces, one quarter to each member, a guest came. A guest came and he said, "Give me some food, I am hungry, famished." Now this man is a grihastha. He is a grihastha householder, and it is the householder's duty to feed any person who comes to your doorstep asking for food. Even if it comes to giving your food and you staying hungry, the householder should do that. That is his duty. So now this Brahmin was in a great dilemma. After many days, I'm going to eat, and now this fellow has come right at the moment, even before I could put that piece of chapati in my mouth. Then he said, "Okay, take my quarter." When he said, "Take my quarter," his wife said, "Take even mine." When the children saw that the mother and father are not eating, they said, "We will also not eat. Give it to this stranger, a guest." And all of them gave that food. They stayed hungry, and that guest ate that food and left. The crumbs of that chapati which fell on the ground, I went in search of the food, and those crumbs stuck to my body, and my body, half of it turned golden. So that was a great punya karma. It was not ordinary. Just giving the food was, what one chapati he has given. He has not given tons and tons or anything, but only one chapati, but that itself became a great punya. So there is some great punya when any action that is conducted by through self-sacrifice for the sake of righteousness. Righteousness, people will think about righteousness as long as everything about them is comfortable. That is not great punya, that is ordinary. When people are going to give donations, they will give, oh, this much only will give, enough. When you give, and in that giving there is self-sacrifice, then that becomes punya. So, as a result of some great punya, now this person has the tattva jnanam, he gets the knowledge, he is able to understand tattvamasi. Some punya, whether he has done it in this life or in previous life. But there is a certain knowledge, the Tattvajnanam is there. But what this fellow lacks are these two things, Paravairagya and Samadhi Patava. He does not have that. So there is knowledge now, but there is no steadiness to that knowledge. And he explains this unsteadiness by saying, उक्तगुणरहितस्य केनापि पुण्यविशेषेण कदाचित् उत्पन्नेऽपि तत्त्वज्ञाने गृहकर्मवत् तत्रैव तत्त्वं विस्मर्यते. Now, like a person who has that some knowledge, but because engrossed in some work, forgets it. Momentary, there is a momentary forgetfulness. That forgetfulness is what? Can you say he does not have knowledge? He has knowledge. But now, because he is engrossed in something, that forgetfulness is there. So this kind that so there is no ignorance, but there is forgetfulness. This kind of forgetfulness is unsteadiness of the knowledge. Okay, grihakarmavat tatraiva tattvam vismaryate. Tad idam asthitam prajnanam. This prajnanam is asthitam. Etadeva abhipretya vasishtha ah. And keeping this as an intention, this matter to be explained, sage Vasishtha has spoken something. What did sage Vasishtha say? Let us see that tomorrow. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Shankaram Shankaracharya Keshavam Badarayanam सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः।